All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic episode of This Week in Reselling. You're the best podcast that you're currently listening to. I am your host, Ray. I am joined by my co-host, Dustin.
What's up? What's up?
And today, guys, we have a very special guest. We have Katey Reeds is in the building. What's going on, Katey?
Hey guys, excited to be here.
All right. Now, Katey, I know that I'm really excited to have Katey on because one of the things that Katey specializes is books. And I don't know anything about books. Dustin, do you know anything about buying and selling books?
I haven't read a book or bought any books in a while.
Oh,
Killer. Killer.
Dustin, when was the last book you read?
Probably in college.
Oh.
Like what? Like How to Kill a Mockingbird or something like that?
Something like that. Probably Harry Potter. So
Harry Potter. Oh, so Katey, you're gonna have to school us here. So Katey, we wanted to have her on to kind of teach us a little bit about buying and selling books. And she is an author, which is super awesome. And so Katey, for the people that don't know, I know that you also resell. You resell a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
And just give us a little bit of like an origin story on you, like how you got into reselling, like why books are like that particular niche that you chose to get into. I'm sure you're a big bookworm, when you were a kid, like all that good stuff. Just tell us like, how Katey Reeds became Katey Reeds, I guess.
Okay. So I guess to make a long story short, I've been on eBay since my daughter was really little. My dad used to do wholesale perfumes and stuff on eBay. So I kind of grew up with eBay. I remember in high school, like helping him ship out orders and stuff like that. So I've always like flipped things on eBay or Facebook Marketplace just for extra cash. But then in 2019, a friend of mine was moving to Utah. And by then, I'll backtrack a little bit. By then, I was like writing books. I had already published my first short story. And I was like a bookstagram account, I guess you could say. People were paying me or sending me free copies of their books to either edit it or read it and review it, or do both. So I was kind of like in that book world hustle a little bit. And then in 2019, one of my friends was moving away and she said, I have 4 huge like plastic totes of books that we're not going to take to Utah with us. I'm in Michigan. She was moving from Michigan to Utah. And she's like, do you want them? And I'm like, sure. Because I figured I could take them to some bookstores, get some in-store credit and, go shopping with it. And then I started looking some of them up on eBay just out of curiosity. And some of them were like no longer in print. Some of them were like going for $20 to $30. And I'm like, oh, I think I want to sell these instead myself. So I literally dove into it. I had no clue what I was doing, but I dove into it, did some quick YouTube research, Steve Rakin and all of them kind of popped up and taught me a little bit about selling books, but he was really focused on Amazon, not so much on eBay. So I started with eBay, signed up for Amazon, got into like the FBA book business with Amazon. And I still do that to this day, but I run both of them parallel because eBay has its kind of market and Amazon has its market. And yeah, then a year ago, January 31st last year was my first YouTube video. So I'm almost a year into YouTube now.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm almost at my 1-year anniversary with YouTube. And that's pretty much, I just dove into Katey Reeds actually came from like when I was doing bookstagram stuff. And I just kind of kept the name because so much of my audience was already book people. And a lot of them were buying books off of me direct through Instagram and stuff. So that just kind of continued. And then I put myself out there in my community. And so now I run a free book pickup service. So I work with a lot of organizations, schools, colleges, people off the street will message my business Facebook page and ask me to come pick up books for them for free. So I'm getting free inventory that way as well. So yeah, it just kind of snowballed. I just dove into it, put myself out there and tried it, and here I am.
I love it. I love it. And the
Awesome.
Katey Reed's name, I think it's fantastic.
Mhm.
I think
Really? Yeah,
it
it
is
was
for
just I
everything.
felt like it wasn't creative at all, but I just got
No,
it.
it's
I just
great.
carried it through.
I love it. I love it. So you're running a eBay store, like you sell a lot of books on there, and then you're doing Amazon like FBA, or like you're
Yeah,
selling
so
at
Amazon, I do
Amazon and eBay.
exclusively FBA.
So what
Yeah,
are the
I do
differences
Amazon.
between, you said there was a different markets between the two. Can you touch on that a little bit? Like what are the like
Yeah, so Amazon, like, I mean, you could sell a vintage or antiquarian book on Amazon, but the market of buyers on Amazon, I feel they just don't really go to Amazon for that type of book.
Mhm.
A lot of people on Amazon are looking for modern, they're looking for textbooks, they're looking for nonfiction. Um, if they're looking for fiction, they're looking for more modern fiction. So Amazon is I kind of like refer to Amazon as like the books you're going to be sending into Amazon are the ones that are more modern. They have barcodes on the back, like that type of thing. The vintage and antiquarian books sell for me way better and typically for a lot higher price point and a lot less fees than FBA on eBay.
Okay.
So that's what I mean why I kind of run them parallel. And then I also kind of find like books in lots sell a lot better on eBay than they do on Amazon. Amazon, like you could probably sell a Harry Potter lot or something like that fine on Amazon, but on eBay, it's a lot easier to sell a 200 book lot of Babysitters Club books than it would be on Amazon.
That
So
makes
that's
sense.
why I kind of run them parallel. And that's what I mean by them being kind of like different markets, different buyers, different types of things you would list.
Okay, that's great info. You mentioned the term antiquarium?
Yeah,
What?
antiquarian. So antiques.
Okay.
So
So
books
those
over
would
a
be
100 years old.
Oh wow.
over books over 100 years old. That's what that
Hmm.
means. And
Hmm.
antiquarian. Am I saying that right?
Antiquarian. Yeah,
And okay.
don't say aquarium.
No.
It's
I'm
antiquarian.
trying not to. So we have some people that just popped up in the chat. So we want to say hi to some people. We have Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer. And we have
Hi,
Landshark
Jennifer.
Picker. He's in
Hey,
the
Craig.
building. And of course, Jennifer is dropping them links. So shout out to
Gotta love her.
Jennifer as well. So guys, if you want to, of course, all Katey's link tree is down in the description below, so you can find her and everything she's doing. Instagram. What else you got on there, Katey? Your website, I think, is attached to your link tree.
Mhm.
Your YouTube channel, all that good stuff. So
Yep. A lot of
tell us a
stuff.
little bit about you being an author.
Yeah, so I've always like written even since I was young. Like I've always been a reader and a writer. I did a lot of poetry when I was younger too, but I had a story that just like literally hit me one day and so I wrote it up literally on my lunch hour. And back when I used to work for a bank. I wrote it up on my lunch hour. I had a couple friends read it. I edited it, put it together, and just randomly decided, hey, I'm going to put it on Amazon KDP and publish it myself. And so I published my first short story for Kindle. My sister is a graphic designer, so she helped make the cover of it for me. And yeah, I just randomly decided to do that back in 2018. And then I just had a lot of good feedback. A lot of people liked my stories. And so since then, I've been writing and I will have another book published by the end of this year. It'll be an anthology, which is a bunch of short stories in one book. Short stories are kind of like my thing. That's my favorite thing to write.
That's awesome. I know some people say that I'm echoing. Does that sound better?
You're still echoing.
Am I still echoing? Okay, hold on.
Yep.
Go ahead and do this. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes my mic is being weird. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. So we have sunny Las Vegas just popped on, and Alan just popped on as well. Good to see you guys.
Hey guys.
So Katey, so we have a segment on the show. We want to get to know you a little better. So we have a segment on the show called Overrated, Underrated, where we ask you 10 different things, and in your opinion, you tell us if they're overrated or underrated. And are you ready?
Sure.
All right, let's do it. But before we get into that, Katey, we want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the podcast, which I don't know if you collect these things. Are you familiar with Funko Pops?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Funko Pops. I know people love Funko Pops. What are your go-to Funko Pops?
I mean,
all right. Heck yeah. So we want to give a shout out to our sponsor of the podcast, which is poppingofftoys.com. They're a local Funko Pop vendor here in Nashville. They also sell online, and they're one of the best people where you can buy Funko Pops from. And they did provide us with a code. So if you guys use the code Nashville Flippers, you'll get 10% off your entire order. And if anybody's ever sold any Funko Pops, I know that Sonny said he's getting rid of his Funko Pops, but if you ever sold any Funko Pops, it's really important on how you ship them. So they're collectors as well, and they sell really high-priced Funko Pops. They just don't carry the new ones. They carry Funko Grails and all that good stuff. So they're guaranteed to come mint and crispy right to your door. So if you guys want to use the code Nashville Flippers, you'll get 10% off your entire order at poppingofftoys.com. So without further ado, Katey reads. Let's get into overrated, underrated. Number 1, sourcing at auctions. Overrated, underrated.
Okay, so I went to my first auction ever last weekend. So I'm going to say it is a tad bit overrated.
Okay.
Only because, like, my experience is, like, it's just nonstop, like, craziness. And I feel like the auctions they feel almost like eBay auctions a little bit. Like the prices, it's hard to source at an auction where a lot of people are at. So I would say overrated.
Okay. I know that, so your first experience, I know my first experience at an eBay auction was absolutely crazy. And one of the things that happened to me, I was not aware of like the, what is it? Like the auctioneer premium, like the extra, like fee that they attached, towards the end. So it's like you think that you're paying, for example, $10 for something. You're like, oh man, I'm going to make some money off of this. And then they attach that fee and you're like, oh man, I'm not going to make as much money.
Yes.
And just like certain terms, like buyer's choice, where you're like bidding on certain items. It might be multiples. So it's a pretty intense situation. It's fun, but like you said, I think it's overrated.
Yeah, I would agree.
So,
I would agree.
At least for buying and selling stuff on eBay.
Yes,
So,
for sourcing. I mean, for yourself, buying for yourself, yeah, that would be a lot of fun and a great way to get stuff for cheap, for sure.
All right, so let's move on to number 2, overrated, underrated. Dustin?
Yep. Number 2, Jennifer Lawrence, the actress.
Jennifer Lawrence as an actress. I would say underrated. I don't think she gets a whole lot of play. I don't think she gets a whole lot of attention. I think she is a good actress. Right now, I feel like she doesn't get a whole lot of attention. She probably had her moments, definitely during like, her bigger movies that blew up. But I don't know. I think she's a little underrated.
Okay. What would you say is the Jennifer Lawrence movie that you think of when you think of Jennifer Lawrence?
Oh, I gotta remember what it's called. Hold on one second, because I can see it in my head. So I think it's from a book series.
Was it like Silver Lining Playbook? Wasn't that a movie?
Are you thinking Hunger Games?
Yes. Hunger Games.
Okay.
Yes.
I forgot she was in those movies.
I did not read those books because I'm not really into like fantasy, sci-fi, like that type of fiction. But why I think she's kind of underrated is because I am into horror, and she was in that movie Mother.
Oh,
And while it's not like a horror film, that movie was so deep, and she did an amazing job. So yeah, I'm gonna say she's
okay.
underrated a little bit.
I never saw that movie. Dustin, did
It's
you see
good.
that movie?
It's really good.
No, I never saw that movie.
No.
Yeah, it's
The
really
last
good.
movie I saw with Jennifer Lawrence was the new one on Netflix with Look Up. Did you see that one?
Oh no, I haven't seen that one yet.
It's pretty good. Have you seen it, Dustin?
Look up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on
I thought-
Netflix.
Leonardo DiCaprio and all that.
Yeah. I thought that
Yeah.
movie
That
was
was a good
great.
movie.
Yeah.
It's a little
So-
strange, but it was good.
It's good. It's good
Yeah.
for sure. Sunny says she had a lot of negative comments about her weight,
Right?
which was weird because she's not large or small. She's like the girl next door to me.
I
enjoy
agree.
her.
Like I feel like she's just an average
Yeah, she's
person.
yeah. She's not big at all. That's messed up. All right, so let's move on. Overrated, underrated number 3, Katey, thermal printers.
Can I say that I feel like they get the appropriate hype? Only because, like, okay, a lot of people act like, oh, they're overrated. Bro, I save so much money on not buying ink. Like, for me, I feel like the hype is appropriate for what they do. Now, I'll say like specific brands like Dymo and Rollo are probably overrated. I feel
Okay.
like any thermal printer, period, could work. I don't feel like it has to be some fancy special brand. But the money you save, how it's just it's chef's kiss. I mean,
Oh, great. That's awesome. So that leads us into something special. I'm giving you guys a podcast exclusive. So, Katey, I don't know, but we're fixing to hit 3,000 subscribers. So
dang,
we
yes.
are doing a giveaway on our channel. Go see that video. We're giving one of the things that we're giving away is Kevin the Commonwealth Picker. He gave us
Hey.
one of these to give away. So
Nice.
we're giving that away. But the good people, I sent an email and they said, I told them about the giveaway and they're like, hey, we want to participate in the giveaway. So one of our older sponsors of the podcast, IDPRT, which is a thermal printing company, sent us
Nice.
this thermal printer to give away. So if you guys don't have a thermal printer, go over to the YouTube channel where it says giveaway and do what it says. And once we hit 3,000 subscribers, we're going to give away this thermal printer.
Beautiful. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
100% for free. So
Nice.
we have blood.
Hey, Leroy.
Yeah, Leroy. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
I know.
I never know. I
Maybe
can't remember anybody's names, so I need to have like a Excel sheet with everybody's names on it. I have a FOMO that has been a beast since day one. Fomio. Some thermal printers can print on smaller circle stickers, which is awesome. There you go. Seals for packaging.
There's so many. You can do so much beyond just shipping labels. You can literally brand yourself for free. I mean, granted, it's black and white. It isn't a color thermal printer, but I mean, it's just. I mean,
yeah,
it's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
They said they're giving us the football updates here. Thrift Native says, "I'm sorry, the Chiefs and Bills game is going into overtime." So, man, good to see you, man. Let us know who wins. So Front Porch Picker says hello to the local flipper friends. Good to see you. I'm glad that you came on. So let's move on. Overrated, underrated, number 4.
Number 4, red velvet cake.
Definitely overrated.
No.
Tell us why.
No, you know what's underrated is carrot cake.
Okay.
And that's fire. And so yeah, red velvet, it just doesn't
hit the same as carrot cake, huh?
No.
That's close for me. Carrot cake, I like both of them. Man. That's so hard.
That is hard. I mean, a good red velvet.
What?
I said I do like me some carrot cake though. It's like cream cheese icing. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yes. And then homemade carrot cake on top of it.
Do what?
You can put cream cheese icing on red velvet cake.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's a cream cheese icing. That's why I like red velvet and carrot cake.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You can do that. You can do that. So let's see here. He says,
Yeah,
I agree with Katie.
he knows what time it is.
Okay. I think cake is overrated. Pie is underrated. Interesting. That's a hot take.
Mm.
What kind of pie? What's your go-to pie? Blueberry?
Blueberry. Go-to, always. Always. And then above cake and pie is cheesecake.
Oh, hands down. What about cobbler? Anybody like a good cobbler?
Yeah, I could get down with a good cobbler as long as it's got ice cream with it. Now I'm hungry. Now you guys are.
I'm gonna go get
now you guys got me messed up.
I'll catch y'all next week on the next podcast.
Peach. Hey, Sonny's got it down. Peach cobbler corners, please. That's for sure. So,
nice.
All right, Katie. Number 5, overrated, underrated. Facebook Marketplace.
Unpopular opinion. I'm gonna say overrated, only because everybody's like, "Oh, it's the new eBay," and for me, no way ever. eBay is way too established. It's been around way too long. I mean, it's been around since like what 1995 or something. Like eBay's just way too established. And at the end of the day, like Amazon's always going to be the king. But for me, like Facebook Marketplace, the only reason I haven't jumped on that train is because like I feel like sellers still don't have enough protections and support. And I feel like it's a buyer focused platform right now exclusively. So yeah, I'm not a fan. I would say it's overrated.
I agree. And we've asked the same question to a lot of our different guests, and they agree. They say that for shipping, it's way overrated. Like if you want to meet somebody, that maybe, you have like, I don't know, like a lawnmower or something you want to get rid of. I guess it'll be a little better. But a lot of people say that it's overrated, and I got to agree. I think people get scammed on there all the time.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Dustin? Overrated, underrated?
Overrated for sure.
Overrated. Yeah. Thrift Native says, I agree because I feel Facebook Marketplace is still hard to navigate. eBay, I agree with that. I agree with that. So, all right, let's move on. Number 6, overrated, underrated.
Elmo.
I think he gets the appropriate. I think he deserves. I think some people might think he's overrated, but I think he paid his dues. I don't know. I guess he's a little underrated.
Okay.
A little. I think some people feel like he's like, I don't know. He's just been around for so long, and he's just like the OG. And, he's kind of like Mickey, he's always going to be that mascot, he's always the main character, So I don't know. I don't know how to answer it because I feel like he gets the appropriate, like, he gets the appropriate play. I would say in reselling, he's underrated because I think a lot of Elmo stuff sells really well.
All right.
Don't know that, but
I know it's like
I don't know how to answer.
There's like that meme, that TikTok meme with the audio, going around right now. So let's see what the people have to say. They say that that's a hard one. He's so cute and annoying at the same time. That's interesting. Did we lose Katie? Katie, are you there? Are you there, Dustin? Can you see me?
I'm here.
Okay.
Might have lost Katie.
We lost Katie. She's in the gulag. You there?
Hi.
You're back. There we go.
My bad.
It might be the Elmo.
Elmo messed up my Wi-Fi, so now he's over it.
There you go. This is a good one. Do I need to remind you of Tickle Me Elmo? So.
Oh, yeah.
Tickle Me
Okay.
Elmo was hot.
Yeah.
Tickle Me Elmo was hot, and the Chiefs won. So, spoiler alert.
Go Sports.
Go Sports, Katie says. All right. So let's move on. Overrated, underrated. The Goodwill, Katie.
The Goodwill what?
The Goodwill. Just the Goodwill.
Oh, the Goodwill in general?
In general, yes, ma'am.
It's a little overrated.
Okay. Tell us why.
It's a little. Just because I have found so many great deals at estate sales versus Goodwill and Salvation Army, and like those mom and pop thrift places that like are church ran, or like, you know, nobody really knows about them. Yeah, I would say it's a little overrated.
Okay. Nice. Nice. A lot of people agree. A lot of people agree. What's the best thing you've ever found at a Goodwill?
I don't even know if I can think about the best thing I've ever found at a Goodwill. I take that back. I mean, Goodwill is a great place to go, especially when they like restock books. It's a great place to go to find, you know, books to send into FBA, Amazon FBA, you know, so scanning books. I've gotten some good textbooks from eBay. So, and those are usually $50 plus profits, but estate sales is where I've always crushed it.
Nice.
Just because I feel like they're most of the time, depending on the estate sale company, they don't know what they have. I feel like Goodwill is starting to do a lot more research and adjusting their prices according to that, which is fine, but just means smaller profit margins.
Nice, nice. Sunny says it's definitely overrated. Don't go to them, especially in my area.
Yeah.
I think you were saying, Katey, if you can catch the people rolling out the little carts and just putting that's when it hits. I know Dustin just had a big haul with some shoes that way. So
now the Goodwill bins is a different like story for me.
Okay.
Because, you know, I just went yesterday, I paid $5.28 for a bunch of stuff that I can send into FBA that was really light. Clothing, Microsoft laptop bag, audio cassette tapes, books. Like, I got a lot for $5.28.
That's
and
awesome.
I mean, my profit margin is going to be pretty big. So that, you know, I think it's a little underrated with the types of profit you can make. I think people just think it's nasty and yucky. So, and it is, but you know, you can make some money.
That's right. That's right. So, Bren's Gems says Goodwill sends so much of their good stuff merchandise to their online store. A lot of people don't even know that Goodwill has an online store, which is crazy. So, all right. So let's move on. Number 8, overrated, underrated.
Stephen King, the author.
Oh, he is not overrated. He's one of my favorite authors, so I'm gonna have a totally biased opinion. I would say that he is a little underrated right now because like there's new generations now. He's been writing since the 60s. Like I think Carrie was published in like early 70s, and that was his first ever published book. So like he's been around for forever. So I would say he's like well known, but I would say a lot of the newer generations haven't like read any of his old stuff. Or they just gravitate towards like the TV shows and movies based on his books rather than actually reading his stuff. So, and just him evolving as an author, like, oh my God, like his writing style with Carrie and Pet Sematary compared to how it is now, like, it's just crazy how as an author, like you change over time. So I would say he's a little underrated in this generation.
Now, for someone like me that's never read a Stephen King book, what would be the entry point for a Stephen King book? Like, what would you recommend that we would read?
So it kind of depends on like what you like. I think for men, because a lot of his main characters are men because he's a guy, so he can just relate to that. So a lot of his main characters in his books are men. So my favorite one is Pet Sematary. That's a really good one. I would say The Cell is actually pretty cool.
Okay.
That
was okay. Didn't they make a movie out of that again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And it was like he wrote that like when flip phones were still around and all that kind of stuff. The Cell is actually pretty cool. But if you can handle a really big book, The Stand is like I mean, I read The Stand unedited, like it was, unedited. It was like the whole thing, his original first published one. It was like 1,300 pages.
Wow.
It was a big book. It took me a while. That took me a whole month to read, but it's so good. And now with like everything that's going on in the world with like, everything virus related, it's so crazy how he wrote that back in the 90s and like where we're at now. It's crazy.
So it's really like a virus themed book?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
It's about a virus that takes over literally the world. So it's an awesome book. And like what happens after, like when there's craziness, it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic a little bit, but like virus focused. So it's cool. It's really cool.
That sounds good. The Stand.
The Stand.
Yep. I'm gonna have to read it. It sounds intriguing.
Very good.
Sounds intriguing. Front Porch Picker says, Katey, you would love McKay's here in Nashville. Now, what would you describe it as, Dustin?
I don't know how to describe it.
I know quite a bit about McKay's.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Romer the Roamer, who is a big Amazon FBA seller, he is from Nashville.
Okay.
And he ran this huge book business out of a storage unit. He was always sending books into McKay's and getting books for McKay's. And I think they even gave him like a sweatshirt from McKay's because he was in there so much. So, it's kind of like a thrift bookstore in a way. And you can bring stuff in and get store credit. And he kind of talked about like how he used that for like getting inventory and cash and all that kind of stuff. So it was cool.
Awesome. All right, so let's move on. Number 9, overrated, underrated. Antique booths. Like a reseller having an antique booth, because that's like a new like that. I feel like that's
I feel like it's a little underrated only because there's a couple local estate sale companies that I know, and one of them, like I don't want to say like I know the guy, but like we talk quite a bit and we've like shared business. We've had business discussions when I've been at the estate sales he's running. And I asked him, like, what do you do with the stuff that doesn't sell? Like, do you just buy out the family or the people that are trying to liquidate, or what do you do? And he said that he works with a lot of antique booth people, and they will typically just like empty him out after the sale. And the thing I like about antique booths also is like, there's pros and cons to it, but really in a way it's passive-ish because, you put things in the antique booth and then in theory, the antique shop, mall, whatever, sells it for you and you just come and pick up your check. So I don't know. I have interest in it. It just seems like it's a little bit of a dying thing in my area. There's not a whole lot of local ones in my area. But I feel like it's an underrated way to like make money, and probably on like bigger items, like bulkier items, furniture and stuff like that. So.
Okay, nice. I know for Front Porch Picker they're saying that overrated unless the booth has a sale going on. I think that's like buying inventory from an antique booth.
Yeah, as a reseller to purchase inventory, antique booths are not my go-to. We do have like a seasonal, because I live in Michigan, so we have a seasonal like antique booth area, and it's not good for sourcing really. But if I was a seller, like it'd be awesome to have a booth there and sell my stuff for sure.
Nice. All right, let's get to the last one, Katey. Overrated, underrated, number 10.
The Encanto movie.
The Encanto movie? Yeah. Okay, that's funny. I just recently watched it, literally like last weekend. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to have an opinion. I think it's a little overrated. It's a great movie. I'm Latina, so like I support like the whole, showing different Hispanic cultures outside of just like Mexican stuff. You know, I know it's like kind of Colombian focused culture, but everybody's like, oh, we don't talk about Bruno as such like a bop, and it's such, like, not really like it's not for me. I don't know. Maybe I need to watch it a couple more times and I'll fall in love with it. I don't know. My daughter liked it, but I don't know. For me, it's a little overrated.
I agree with you 100%, Katey. My wife and I watched it, and again, I'm a little biased too because I'm 100% Mexican, 100% Mexicano, and then Dustin's wife, which is my sister, she's Mexican too, which my wife and I, we enjoyed Coco like 1,000 times more.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like the music is way better than that. And Dustin really likes Encanto. I don't know, Dustin. Tell us why you like it.
I don't know. We all liked it over here.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just like the movie.
Yeah. Dustin likes it. It's funny. You know, my nephew's 3 years old, so he likes, you know, the animation and stuff. But
yeah, I mean, it was beautiful. The story was really nice. Like, it was deep. There was deep stuff in the story that, like, obviously the adult audience would understand, and culturally wise, really nice. But it just wasn't like, I don't know. I didn't cry. I didn't get emotional. Like, nothing at all. Coco, like,
when Abuelita died, are you kidding me? Every time. I can't watch the movie without crying.
Coco, like, I just...
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah. So, I don't know. For me, Encanto is a little overrated. But
there you go. We have Glenn the Swamp Picker. He says hello. Good to see you, Glenn. And then we have Marie. Good to see you, Marie. Glad that you guys can jump on. So that concludes our segment of the show, Overrated, Underrated. Thank you so much, Katey, for playing. And again, guys, if you have not already subscribed to the podcast, make sure you subscribe and leave a 5-star review so it bumps us up in the podcast algorithm. And if you want to follow everything that Katey is doing, all of her links are linked down in the description below. Just hit that link tree. Go to her YouTube, Instagram, her website, everything she's got going on, and make sure to follow her because she gives some great advice all the time. And guys, if you want to support the podcast, the best way to support the podcast is down in the description. We have a link to our merch store. So we're working on our new merch. So if you guys want to check out our merch store, go over there, click it, and that's the best way that you can support the podcast. We just found out that these are old cell phone cases. If you click on them, you can purchase the new and improved cell phone cases. So we have that available. So Dustin was giving me a hard time for that last time. So we have mugs, T-shirts, hoodies, everything you can imagine, stickers, all that stuff, which is all designed 100% by me, yours truly. So if you want to support the podcast, somebody that's purchased some merch from us before, Willie Holt, he purchased some merch for us. So what's up, Willie? Willie is one of our favorite resellers that here in the local area. He's absolutely awesome. So
he's the OG.
All right.
First interview.
The OG. He was actually, Willie, fun fact, Willie was our first ever interview on our YouTube channel.
Aww. That's so fun.
Way back in the day. So if you want to check that out, it's in our videos there. So, Katey, are you ready to play Skip or Flip, our new segment on the show?
Yes, I'm nervous, but yes.
All right, fantastic. So the people that may not know, we're going to be showing Katey a picture of something. So if she were to be out at the Goodwill, the auction, the estate sale, and she were to come across this item, will she be skipping it, which means not purchasing it, not reselling or whatever, or will she be flipping it, where she would buy it and then sell it on eBay? So first one up, Katey reads. We have... And for the people that are listening at home, let's see if I can make this big. This is a pen. It's a black pen. It's got a little bit of a design on the tip and in the barrel. Well, this is going to get... it's a Mont Blanc pen. As you can see there, there's the case. It comes with the case. It's brand new. Looks like it might have some hearts design or something on the tip. Here comes the jokes. I can already hear the jokes. So, it's Mont Black writing on the side there. It's got a little like face on the.
Oh my god!
What would you call that, Katey? You know, like you put it on the clip, I guess.
Yeah. Wow, that's so creepy.
It's got a item number on the pen.
Wow.
So, excuse me, it's a mechanical pencil.
Oh, it's a mechanical pencil. Good Lord. Okay, yeah. Just based on the fact that it's in a box and it's Mont Blanc or whatever, and it just sounds fancy, I would pause if I saw this at Goodwill. I'd put it in my cart to make sure no one else took it. And I would at least look this up. I don't know.
It sounds like you're flipping,
but without looking it up, just like if I was just at an estate sale and I saw this laying out, I would probably pass on it. Just because I do know that like pens and pencils can sell really well, but I just don't feel like this is like over a $30 item.
Okay. Now, Front Porch Picker says very Art Deco.
Okay, yeah, so, and I even with art books, like I'm still learning about art books because art books are like they're like their own world in itself. Like the art stuff, the art world is just crazy. That's a own like niche that you need to learn all by itself.
Agree. So Marie's saying that's debatable, but I'm gonna flip, and Willie's saying that's a definite flip. So
really? See, I don't see that being more than $30.
I'm right there with them. The detail, the limited edition. I mean, come on, I'm flipping.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
but I don't know. I guess I've seen limited edition, first edition stuff in the book world, and that doesn't always command a high price point. So I'm just always skeptical, but every category is different.
That's true. You know, things that are meant to be collectible usually aren't worth a lot of money.
That face creeps me out. You got to switch the picture.
All right. So, Dustin, what are you doing? Flipping or skipping?
I'm flipping.
What about you, Miss Katey? What are you doing?
I am going to say... I mean, I don't know how much does it cost. Like, okay, I would probably flip it. I would probably.
Let's say it costs $5.99.
Yeah, I would give it a shot. I definitely look it up and see if we could flip it.
All right. I can just hear the jokes. The thickness is also a clue, easier to hold. So, yep. All right, Miss Katey, let's see what it's sold for. And these are sold comps. So. This pen sold for $599.
Holy macaroni. No way. $599. I'm like, I can't see that being more than $30.
And they've sold 2 of them.
Wow. 6 available.
So this brand, Mont Blanc, I guess it's a very nice pencil brand. So these aren't cheap mechanical pencils by no means. If you see anything Mont Blanc, it's worth picking up. As you can see by the
even just the pen, like the fact of the box and everything else doesn't even really. Even just the pen by itself.
It's wild, isn't it?
Dang, people are weird. I would not spend that much money for a pen or pencil.
$2,000.
I don't care how smooth it writes.
Jeez.
January 23rd, this pen sold for $2,000.
Shut up.
Pre-owned.
And that's not even going to a charity. Like that's just a straight normal sale. Like because the charity auction can sometimes get weird because it's a charity auction, but that was just straight up sale.
Surprising, huh?
Wow.
So now you know, guys.
Me with that one.
Mont Blanc. I hope I'm saying that right. If you see that pen or pencil, make sure you pick it up.
Yep,
so
all of them, even the lower end ones, I guess.
That's
the
right.
more affordable ones go for a lot.
Dang. I'll have to find a pencil. Facts. And that's the kind of stuff you would come across at an estate sale and like easily, like if they put $20 on it, thinking it was just a fancy pen or something, even buying up like that, God, the profit margin on that would be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They even have watches, pocket watches.
Wow.
So look for watches and pins.
Mont Blanc. There you go, guys. All right. So, let's see if I can. Next one up, Katey. Let's see what we got. That's a surprising one, ain't it?
That was, yeah. You definitely schooled me with that one. That was crazy.
So I think this one is a little bit more up your alley. So let's see if I can. Oh no, will it not get big? All right, I'm gonna have to see if I can save this picture because it's not wanting. There we go. All right. Skip or flip, Miss Katey? What you got?
Ooh, let me see the inside copyright page.
Okay, for the people that are listening at home, this is a Salem's Lot Stephen King book, a new novel by the author of Carrie. Okay, here's the back of the book.
This is like the original Dust Jacket that he's reading, and it's the Doubleday publisher. But yeah, let me see the copyright on the inside. I think this is the first edition, so I would flip this in a heartbeat. Yeah, yep, this is the first edition, so I would flip this in a heartbeat.
So the books will say inside of it will say first edition, like if it's a first edition book?
Yeah, it depends on the publisher. So like this is the 70s and every publisher kind of does stuff different, but it literally says first edition. So this is the first edition. Other publishers, especially more modern books, will have like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like a number sequence. That's how you kind of figure out, if it's a first edition or not. The problem is like every publisher kind of does their thing different. So you kind of have to learn a bunch of different ways that they were done. But yeah, this is a first edition. And I could tell pretty quickly based on that dust jacket as well. So yeah, that's so cool. Honestly, like, yeah, and that's another indicator. So you know that it's a first edition. Honestly, like some of the books, if you're curious if it's a first edition, if you put in the book title and then first edition, and then just look at the images, Google, you can compare your book to other like verified first editions. And I do that sometimes too. But yeah, I mean, that one, I would be so tempted to keep it, honestly, just because that would be awesome for the personal collection. But yeah, I would flip that for sure.
Now, what is this Q37?
It's just an indicator that the publisher put in there, and it's probably only seen in first editions.
Oh,
so that's the reason they take the picture of it.
So what are you doing, Dustin? You skipping or you flipping?
Flipping based off the first edition.
Okay, nice. Let's see what the people at home are saying. Marie's saying flip. Front Porch Picker says keep that baby or flip. And Willie says, Katey, that's your thing right there. Would flip it. And Front Porch Picker says, great tip. So let's see what we got here. $1,600. So
and I want to say the reason that one is so expensive, and it's not even signed. If it was signed, but the dust jacket is in like overall okay condition, and then taking the dust jacket off, that book is in pristine condition. Like it barely has any foxing. There's barely any bumps on the spine, or like it's pretty crispy. So yeah. Condition matters a lot. If this was a first edition hardcover, this is a hardcover book, first edition, and it was like super tore up, there were stains all over the pages, like it just was looking ugly, you could probably get some money still for it, but not that price point.
What is, you mentioned the term foxing. What is foxing?
Foxing is like when there's like tanning or like speckled browning throughout the pages. It's just what happens with like, books being old and sitting over time. A lot of dust can collect, and it can sometimes, like on the top of the books, and it can sometimes like get nasty on the outside of the pages. So
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, this also is a good reminder of how condition really, really matters with books, for sure.
Perfect. All right. Hey, that's why we wanted to have you on. This is
that's
some
beautiful,
fantastic information.
That is a nice one.
All right, last one, Katey. Flip or skip. Let's pull her up. This is a little bit outside the box. What? I think they all have been a little bit outside the box, but regardless, skip or flip, Katey.
Oh, this is a guy from Toy Story. Yeah, I would flip that.
Prospector.
Just because I feel like a lot of his merch wasn't super popular when Toy Story 2 came out. I feel like it was mostly Jessie, not the Prospector. So yeah, I would try and flip that. I would definitely look that up and try and flip it.
Okay. What are you doing, Dustin? You skipping or you flipping?
I'll skip because I don't like the guy.
I mean, I don't like him either.
Dustin's a little biased. That's great. All right. So let's see what the people are saying at home. The prospector, the mean prospector. Marie saying she is skipping. And Front Porch Picker says flip, but wouldn't think that much.
I would agree. I would think like maybe $30-$40, but I mean, if I saw that at a Goodwill, especially like what Front Porch said with that the tag or Swamp Picker, sorry, the tag, yeah, I would try that for sure.
All right. So Prospector sold for $82.
Wow. Yeah, so, I feel like his merch wasn't like super widely spread, like how Jessie and the Bullseye, like those were like the more popular toys that got. Wow.
There's a I know there was one signature collection Prospector. If I can pull up. Well, maybe not. That's the one to look for. The signature collection Prospector. I think it's worth like $1,000.
Okay.
Because they didn't, like you said, it's your exact point. They didn't make any of them, so it wasn't a popular character.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like it was Jessie and Bullseye that was made the most of when that movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's way more than I thought too.
That would be good to find, and the if you're digging through like the plush area of the Goodwill and you happen to come across them,
yeah, easy.
That's a good flip. I mean, that's worth more than some of these Jessies that are still in the box.
Yeah, even at like, even if your Goodwill is higher price and they want like $5 or $10 for it, I mean, that's still a great profit margin.
Great profit margin. All right, so Katey, there you have it. That is skip or flip. We've learned some stuff today, haven't we?
We have. I've learned some stuff today. That's awesome. You gave me a lot of value. That's crazy. That pen still's got me a little messed up.
Pen. So, all right, guys. So, again, if you guys want to follow Katey, make sure you do that. And all of her information is down in the description below. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast. And we're giving stuff away, guys. 3,000 subscribers. So go to YouTube and subscribe if you haven't already. So, Katey, let's get down to the nitty gritty here. We're almost at an hour, but we want to get down to the bare bones here.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about books. Mm-hmm. So let's say Dustin and I were going to the Goodwill and we're like, Dustin's like, you know what, Ray? Let's just look at books today. What are we looking for? Like, what are some like huge indicators that are books? These books are worth money. Like, what am I looking for that I can use? What is some good information that I can use to flip on eBay for looking for books?
Yeah, so if you were an eBay seller, I would probably tell an eBay and Amazon seller the same thing. Start with nonfiction, go to like textbooks, self-help, religious books, Bibles, especially old Bibles that are like the family Bibles. Those sell really well for me. And then from there, if you're not really like finding a whole lot, and I'd also like remind people that on eBay, you're scanning barcodes and you have that barcode scanning feature. So like if the book that you're looking at has a barcode, just use that and then look up sold comps that way. or use talk to text. Because a lot of people tell me like it takes too long to look up books. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Because if you have time to sit there and try and figure out the exact Nike model shoe that you're trying to look up comps for, you can look up a book. Because that, like, clothing drives me mad for that reason. Because, like, styles and all of that. So if you have time to do that, you have time to look up a book. You can use talk to text or scan the barcode. You can even type in like the ISBN number that's on the inside of the book if it doesn't have a barcode. So I would start with nonfiction, textbooks, Bibles, religious, self-help, stuff like that. That is just, I feel like, sought after a little bit more as far as like getting higher profit margins. Fiction, you can, get money with fiction for sure. So next, I would say like children's chapter books from the 90s. So like Boxcar Children, Babysitter's Club, stuff like that in lots. If you can get them really cheap, and by really cheap, like 50 cents or less, depending on like your thrift store. Some Goodwills have children's books at like 49 cents. You can get a good lot of them together. I mean, you could sell that for 20, 30 plus, depending what you have. Some specific Goosebumps, like if you study the sold listings and look up Goosebumps, there's some specific Goosebumps, just one book that wasn't mass produced a whole lot. And so like you can get, some really $80 plus on some of those Goosebump books. So I would suggest that. And then depending on your thrift store, I would suggest looking at like the old and decrepit books that people, and just because it's super old and it's like from the 1800s or whatever, doesn't necessarily mean it's worth a bunch of money, but it is worth looking up. That's how I sold a book for $500. I was at an estate sale. It was a book on mysticism. It was from the 1900s. They wanted $3. I looked it up and it was selling on eBay for $300, and I had a dust jacket. And so I listed mine for $800. It sat for a couple months, and then I finally took a best offer from someone in France for $500. So it's worth taking the time to look them up, because you never know. You really don't. And those things are out of print. You know what I mean? So there could be a lot out there, or there could be only a few out there. So I think the older, like vintage, is anything 20 years or older. So I guess Babysitter's Club is vintage, but I would say like 60s and older, those are the books that are more likely no longer in print and worth checking out, especially if they're like, weird topics like mysticism, psychics, religion, political stuff, philosophy, like, those are collector type items, but fiction can go for well too. I mean, you just saw that 1975 Stephen King, Salem's Lot, you know what I mean? Anne Rice, who recently unfortunately passed away, her stuff, especially like the really nice Easton Press Chronicle ones, so you kind of got to stay in with the trends and know a little bit about authors, but that'll come over time.
Nice. Now, when we looked at the Stephen King book, you mentioned that condition is everything with an older book. So what's something to look for in the condition of a book? Let's say your book on mysticism, that you found, like, I'm sure that the book that you found was pretty crispy for it to selling for $500, but like it wasn't?
No.
Oh man. So
I want to see. I want to see if I have a picture that I could show, but so the reason mine was able to sell for so much higher is just simply because I had the dust jacket, and dust jacket is like 95% of the value in most cases when it comes to old books like that. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of how it goes. I don't have any pictures, but so in my case, it was by a guy, D. DeLawrence, L.W. DeLawrence, or DeLawrence was the last name. And he wrote a lot about like mysticism and hypnotism and things like that. And the book on its own was $300-ish, give or take. But because mine still had a dust jacket, I was able to get $500 for it. And my dust jacket even like had rips, and there was some missing pieces and corners, and I mean, it was in really rough shape. But it's also, if you looked at like the other listings out there and the sold listings, mine and 2 other people were the only listings out there. So that also tells you like this book is really hard to find. So that's another thing to kind of keep in mind. I mean, I just sold a New Kids on the Block telephone thing, like a plug-in telephone for $88 that I got for free in an estate sale because it was my listing and one other person. And mine still had like the sticker on it fully and everything like that. So just small stuff like that also kind of matters with books. Like if you have the dust jacket and, you know, mine didn't have any missing pages, mine wasn't written in, stuff like that.
Okay, nice. Now, I know that Front Porch Picker was asking that does Ex Libre books sell? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, so Ex Library and Ex Libris. I've never seen Ex Libre, but yeah, Ex Library books sell for me all the time because I do a free book pickup service with some libraries, schools, colleges, stuff like that. Some of them do have a lot of stampings on them, and you know, like the old school checkout things in the back of the book and all of that. They'll have markings and stampings and stuff. Mine still sell great. I mean, the condition, it's considered lower condition, so I have to sell them at like acceptable or good condition. But they still sell just fine for me. Some people actually like it because some people see it as like, how do I want to say?
I feel like it's nostalgic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Like nostalgia, especially if it comes from like a library, like maybe it came from a library in their hometown and they now live somewhere else. Like there's some deeper meaning behind that. And so, you know, that kind of thing. And those are just so variable. You kind of have no control over it. But yeah, they sell for me very well. Yeah.
I mean, I would get a book that I knew that I went to the library, you know, let's say that, you know, second grade Ray going to the library, reading his Hardy Boys book, learning about the Dewey Decimal System, you know, and I, you know, wanted to reminisce and order a book, you know. I think that would be cool. You know?
I even sell the little old checkout cards that are in the back of the book. I sell these as bookmarks on Etsy.
Oh man.
And people pay $4 to $7 each for them. So it's just about nostalgia. It's crazy.
Yeah. Nostalgia sells, man. Nostalgia sells. So anything that, you know, like, so we're getting down to the nitty gritty here, Katey, and let's get into tips. You know, any tips that you may have to selling and buying books for, let's say, an experienced reseller and then someone that may be a rookie reseller selling books like Dustin and I here.
Yeah, so I would say if you're an experienced seller, if you want to go into Amazon, whether you're doing merchant fulfilled or FBA, it's going to be about bulk. You're going to have to look into buying like Gaylords, which is like those huge things that are on like pallets, or you're going to want a source that is like crazy, like just because like FBA, Amazon in general is like a volume numbers beast. Like you just constantly have to keep feeding it, especially with books. So if that was something that you were wanting to get into and you're experienced and you have the capital and you have like the ability to like grow in that way, you could definitely do that. And you know, you could grow pretty big and that could become a full-time thing for you. If you're an experienced reseller and you want to stick strictly with eBay, I would suggest also like cross-listing your books, because books in general, no matter what platform you're using, are going to take 30 to 60 days to sell. Usually they're just slower selling items. Sometimes they sell overnight, sometimes in a couple weeks, but overall 30 to 60 is like a healthy, you know, flip time frame for books. So with eBay, I would say like be open to cross listing a little bit. And so Mercari is where I sell a lot of like my 90s nostalgia vintage books, my Pokemon books, like that type of thing. And Etsy, I also sell like my vintage and antique books on Etsy. So I would just say like make sure you're cross posting. And honestly, like just do the research. Like, watch my videos, watch other people's videos that talk about books. Back from Burnout, she is exclusively eBay. Granted, she's in Australia, but Mel is like super knowledgeable. And then I would also say to an experienced seller is like get creative, ask for backroom access in thrift stores, create your own free book pickup service, find creative ways of getting inventory where you're not at the end of the stream, you're at the top of the stream and you're getting like the good stuff before it trickles down to everybody else. To a brand new seller, I would say if you're wanting to get into Amazon, do a lot of research. Probably start small with like merchant fulfilled so you get comfortable with the Amazon system. Use the Amazon seller app. It's okay to use that. You don't have to dive into like a Scout IQ software, although I do recommend it after a while. And just kind of start slow and learn a lot because FBA, there's a lot of fees involved. So you want to make sure that you know what you're doing and that you're actually, if the market went down a little bit, that you're not going to be losing money with the books that you're sending in.
That's good.
eBay for a brand new seller, I would say go for it. Like just learn shipping with eBay. That's really what you have to learn. You have to learn media mail shipping. You have to understand that it doesn't have a whole lot of insurance. Like I learned this the hard way. I sold an $80 book when I first started, and media mail shipping is what I used, and the package got lost. And so I reached out to USPS. All they refunded me was the $4.82 that I paid for my postage. And then I had to give the $80 back to the buyer, obviously, to make it right. So that burned really bad. So I just suggest like media mail is cheap. Yep, 100%. But depending on the price point, like I would up like your insurance or do something to kind of cover yourself, or just suck it up and do like first class or priority or something to where if the package got lost, you're not hurting yourself. That is what I would tell a brand new book eBay seller, because that's a lesson. That's a lesson I never forget. I always talk about it. Like never again will I do that to myself. So
that's a great point because we're all like, yeah, let's sell books. It's media mail. It's cheap or whatever. If you're selling you sold that $500 book to France. Let's say you sent a media mail not knowing anything. You could, you lost $80, but you could have possibly lost $500.
Made me sick. That would have made me sick.
So that's a great point. Katey, Front Porch Picker says, do you have a specialty scanner for a lot of your books? What do you use?
So for eBay, I just use the barcode scanner in eBay to look up sold listings if it has a barcode. For Amazon, I use a software called Scout IQ, and it has a scanning feature inside the app already. But you can get a Bluetooth scanner. It's like $60 to get a Natamu. eYoYo is another brand. Same kind of price point. Just depends how fancy you want to get. The 2D the 1D works just fine. The 2D is a little bit faster and can read a little bit more versatile barcodes. It just depends how techy you are and what you want. The first one I ever bought, I bought used for like $55 or something, I want to say, or $40. I don't use it very often though. Just I use it when I'm at library book sales because it's like really competitive and like you have to be fast and like cranking it out. But when I'm like at home or at my local thrift store, I just use a scanner that's inside the Scout IQ app when I'm sourcing for Amazon. I will say I always source for Amazon first. I scan like the categories that I'm comfortable with and I know pretty well first. And then I go through a second time and see if there's anything that catches my eye for eBay, or I'll look up some things on eBay. And Scout IQ is actually kind of cool because within the app, you can link eBay. And if you click, when you scan a book, and let's say it's no good for Amazon FBA, you can click on a part in the app and it will show you eBay sold listings too. It's an extra step, and it's not like all right there. It's an extra additional step you have to do, but so it's kind of time consuming. I wouldn't do it if you're in a fast paced like situation or environment like a book sale, but it is a nice feature. It is a really nice feature.
Nice. Now, for someone like Front Porch Picker that's not techie at all, what's something that someone can do to kind of not necessarily buy a scanner, like do all that, just like typing it in and looking it up the old school way?
Yeah. So if you didn't want to get any software and you wanted to do Amazon, you could do the Amazon Seller app. They have a little picture thing and you put it over the barcode and it'll scan it for you. Amazon Seller app is just kind of lagged a little bit. It doesn't give you like a really good picture on how often that book is selling. That's pretty much the reason people buy software like Scout IQ. You have to be techie to a certain extent, though, even with like eBay, because on the eBay app, you have to be able to scan the barcode on the eBay app in the search bar. If you really, really did not want to do that at all, and you just wanted to go in and not look up sold listings and not use the eBay app, if you list on your computer and you go into thrift stores with like nothing,
that's crazy.
I would say to you, you need to study sold listings and get a really, really good idea of certain categories that are selling well. And then use that knowledge going into the thrift store and buy based on your knowledge, because I never buy without looking up sold listings or looking something up in my Scout IQ app. So if you're super not techie at all and you don't have any apps or smartphone or anything like that, you need to go to your computer and study sold listings first and get an understanding of like certain books and certain categories, and then go into your thrift store, maybe even write it down on a piece of paper or something and have an idea of what to look for. But that sounds scary to me. But
yeah, that sounds super scary. Super scary for sure. But thank you so much, Katey, for coming on. This has been fun. We've learned a lot today. We've learned that Katey sells tons of books. We learned about pens. We learned about Stephen King books. We learned that carrot cake is the best cake ever.
Facts.
We learned it all, baby. So anything to say, Alan? Alan says, Dustin, how is your dog smelling?
Smelling great.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Hey, I'll tell you. So Saturday, Dustin and I usually go and, we usually go picking and stuff. I went to go pick him up. I'm like, hey, Dustin, come on, let's go. He comes out. He's like, I can't go, man. I'm like, what happened? He's like, my dog just got sprayed by a skunk. I'm like, yeah, you need to go handle that. Like, yes.
Oh, man, that's torture.
So, yeah. So, all right. So thank you guys so much for coming on, everybody in the chat. It's been fun, of course. Make sure you check out Katey on all of her social media platforms. All of her link tree is linked down in the description. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and subscribe to the podcast. Leave a 5-star review. And again, we're giving away this thermal printer. Go subscribe to the
thermal printers are not overrated.
There you go. So anything else for the people, Katey?
Not really. I would just say like dive into it and watch a lot of YouTube content and do your research and go for it. That's what I did. I went for it.
Let's go. All right. Anything else you might want to say to the people, Dustin?
Nothing. Just pray for us. Pray for the Titans. And let's hope better next year and hope we get rid of our offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other story. We need to get on live and just talk football, Dustin. That's what we should have did yesterday after the game.
I know we need to.
That's all right. So, all right, guys. So my name is Ray.
My name's Dustin.
My name's Katey.
There you go. Sorry, I didn't know which way to point. So, guys, we will catch you guys on the flip side. See y'all, and God bless. Peace.
Bye, guys. Thank you.